White and gray are finally out, and color is making a huge comeback in 2026. And I would love to show you what colors that I've introduced into our space so far and how they've made such a huge impact already. Welcome back or welcome to my channel if it's your first time here. My name is Tembi, and today I would like to share some of the color updates that I have been making in our space so far. So I'm sure a lot of you remember what homes used to look like in the 2010s moving forward. There was a lot of white and black and gray going on, and in as much as it helped to give our spaces a blank slate, it started to look really sterile and boring over time. And so I completely understand why the Gen Zers and even some of us millennials are excited about the introduction of color, because personally I have always loved color. And so I am not accepting that misconception about millennials loving neutrals or loving white and black and gray only. But all the same, I am going to go ahead and show you some of the updates I have introduced into our space and that I'm really loving thus far. The elephant in the room for us was our TV stand. I bought this TV stand a while back and I decided to give it a little transformation by painting it white. And so this was around maybe 2016, 2018, because white was trending and everything just kind of looked really nice and clean at the time. And I did like it for a while, but as I have been introducing more color into our space, it just really stood out, and not in a good way. And so I decided to give it a makeover over the weekend, and I picked out this gorgeous army green color to cover it with, and without a doubt it has made the transformation that I was hoping for. I absolutely love the moodier tone that the army green is bringing into our space. I also like how calming the color feels, and on top of that, it's blending so much better with the curtains in the living room, because other than the curtains, all I had was our fiddle leaf fig plant and these pillows behind me. And so the white was really standing out, but now I think that it's just looking a lot more cohesive and it feels a lot more intentional at the same time. But overall, I think it was a great decision. I do not regret choosing green, because green in itself is neutral as well, in my opinion. And I think that army green has that timeless feel to it because it can work with so many different color palettes and different colors altogether. And one of the colors that I think army green looks absolutely fantastic with, or complements so well, is burgundy. And speaking of burgundy, I decided to make a naughty purchase over the weekend while I was at TJ Maxx. This was a pretty impulsive purchase for me, because I'm usually not, well, I'm not going to say I'm not that impulsive. I tend not to really buy decor impulsively, but this lamp stood out to me, and rightfully so. It's made out of metal, so the lampshade and the lamp base itself are made out of metal. Made in India. I think the Indians really know how to work with metal and stone and the like, and so I think they did an amazing job. And then on top of that, I really did feel like our space needed more of that modern touch, because I tend to source a lot of vintage in our space, if you haven't noticed already. And in as much as I love vintage so much, I feel like our space was starting to feel less eclectic and more of a vintage filled home. And believe you me, there's nothing wrong with that, but I do tend to lean towards being a lot more eclectic than I do towards just sourcing vintage pieces. I do want to find a good balance, and I think that this gorgeous lamp did that for me. I absolutely love it. Even though the purchase was impulsive, I do not regret it one bit, and I think that it is a lamp that I'm going to keep for a really, really long time, as long as it's functional. And I think it just looks really cool and really modern. And I also like the juxtaposition of the modern lamp with the vintage buffet. They look fantastic together. And I also appreciate the fact that the burgundy is complementing the brown. And so for those of you that are into more of that fall color palette, army green, burgundy, and brown are going to look fantastic together if you'd like to mix those colors together. You probably have a clue of the colors that I'm probably going to be gravitating to in the fall season, because I already have those colors in our space. And I would just like to create some continuity with whatever decor I bring into our space. So I am so in love. And since we're talking about brown, I think that brown is making a huge moment in 2026. I have literally been seeing it everywhere. Or if anything, I have been seeing it a lot over the past couple of years. And I don't necessarily think that it's one of those colors that is extremely trendy, because brown is timeless to me. It's an earth tone, it's very grounding, and you're going to see it in a lot of architecture, whether you like it or not, especially if you are going to be using natural materials like wood and so on and so forth. But all the same, you can see that I'm not complaining, because I do have brown in our space. Our couch is covered in brown. I think it's just a really gorgeous grounding color. Thirdly, I have been really loving amber, and amber is more or less in that brown family. And so as I've been thrifting, I have been collecting amber, and I will say that I have been collecting it over the years. It's been very sporadic, but it's been very intentional at the same time, because amber isn't so common. I mean, there was an era when you could find it maybe at Target or at Magnolia and stuff like that, but there's something that is very different about getting vintage amber glass. It just looks absolutely fantastic. And I've been saying amber all this time, but I meant amber glass. So let me just clarify that. And so I have all these amber pieces around our space. In our living room, I've collected an amber vase and an amber ashtray. It actually used to be an ashtray, but I just use it as a shallow bowl or a little tray, so to speak. And I think it works perfectly in our space. I also started collecting little amber glass bottles, and I've been using those as DIYs to hold my matchsticks, and I think that it looks a lot more aesthetic that way. So that's a way that you can repurpose something that may not necessarily have too many uses, so to speak. But I absolutely love amber glass. I am going to be collecting it, be it in my Christmas decor or fall decor, or just in general drinking glasses and the like. I think that it's absolutely gorgeous, and I love it. And then lastly but not least, I wanted to share a little project or rather the beginning of a little project that I'm going to be doing with our chaise here in the living room. Our chaise is a blue color. It's not navy blue, but it's this really cool blue color. And in as much as it's very comfortable, I don't like the design of the pillows on it. I think the chaise itself isn't bad, but the design of the pillows, it just looks really generic with the pillows, but I wanted to give it a little bit of an upgrade. And so I decided to go thrifting, and I found this gorgeous lumbar pillow. Let's just call it that. And it has the tassels and the fringe on the ends, and it also has this gorgeous color. and it's just so gorgeous. I love it. Another thing that I have been seeing that has been trending are stripes. You're going to be seeing tons of stripes in interior decor and design moving forward, and I thought this was just a great way for me to get ahead of the trend. So I didn't get this because it had stripes. The pillow itself stood out to me. It's very sturdy and looks and feels pretty expensive. This is more of a silk fabric, and I think that it's absolutely fantastic. So I've been using this as the side pillow to replace the side pillow that was, or the side cushion that was on the chaise, and I think that this makes it actually feel a little bit more modern, even though the chaise is not as old. It's not a vintage chaise by any means, but this is a good balance for it. I think it feels a lot more modern and a lot more designed and intentional, in my opinion, with this pillow versus the cushion that it had before. I have this fabric. I've had that I thrifted a while back, and it's not a lot, but let's see. It's kind of this beige. It's not gray. I know this kind of looks like gray on the camera, but it's actually more of a beige tone, and it has this flower embroidery on it, which I think is absolutely fantastic. And so I think that this would work beautifully with the green and the blue, because it's not steering or veering far away from the color that the couch came in. So, or the color that the chaise, the natural color of the chaise. And so I think that this is going to be a very subtle, should I say subtle? Kind of, but it's going to be very transformative, if I should say so myself. So stay tuned for that update. I am thinking about just sewing it maybe on one side and then leaving the other side blue, so it's kind of interchangeable in a sense. So if I feel like keeping it simple, I can just turn the cushions around. But that is everything that I wanted to share with you in today's video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe, and I hope to see you all in the next video, and that should be an interior design video about a European country. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.